friends. I believe we're live. This is a really quick and short stream. I'm just testing something. If you're here, welcome. We're probably going to delete this bot, honestly. If you're curious what we're testing today, we're trying to see, I'm not doing cam even, like I don't really care. It's just, I'm trying to see if we're going to drop frames at 1080p, which is a much higher definition than what we've been doing at 720. I hope we don't. I didn't know if my computer was capable of pulling this much juice. I was talking to my friend who's a wizard with this kind of stuff, and he said my internet should be fine, but it's sort by the bottleneck would probably be my computer more than anything. So we're just going to play a very little bit of World of Warcraft and see how it performs, see if we drop any frames, see if it does well, because the real stream is actually tomorrow, where we're playing Ghost of Tsushima. But I was curious to see just how it would do with WoW. The thing is, like, Ghost probably is much higher at pulling juice from the PC than WoW is, but still, we'll just try, you know. So far, we're at 0 drop frames, so that's pretty good. But again, we haven't done anything yet, so now that we're actually in the game, honestly, dude, like, I have not played World of Warcraft, I'm not joking, in what feels like 2 weeks, which is strange because I've never gone that long without playing it before. But I've just been, when I've been playing video games, it's just been Diablo 4 as of late. I've been so incredibly addicted to Diablo 4. It's so much fun. This season is a lot of fun. At first, I started with a well, the first stream we did when we got the DLC, what we did at Paladin, it was okay. I'm not a huge fan of the class fantasy of Paladins, so I wasn't super into it. But I just wanted to see what it was like. And then we made a Warlock shortly after. That was actually really sick. A Warlock is like some of my top tier class fantasy. It's really fun. The idea of like demons and just dark magic and all that shit, blood magic, all that stuff. It's pretty sick. But it just didn't, the flow of it didn't feel great. My biggest issue with the Warlock is it feels very static. It's sort of like playing Torbjorn in Overwatch, where you sort of have to, you're sort of grounded. Or not Torbjorn, Bastion. Well, sort of Torbjorn when you're babying the turret, but Bastion, where you're rooted to the ground. And it just feels very sketchy to play like that, especially at higher tiers, because you want to be able to move while you cast. At least I do. There's some play styles in Diablo where you have to be standing in one spot, sort of like a turret, in order to cast, and I always avoid those builds because I don't like playing like that. It's just the flow of it feels bad for me. So we played the Warlock a bit, wasn't super into it, and then I went back to my comfort, which is a Pulverized Druid, and I haven't been streaming it because I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima on stream, but my god, man, Pulverize is pretty powerful. The thing is, like, they introduced new torments, so I don't even know what's sorry, just give me one sec. I don't even know what's like what the old torments would be. So before, I think Torment 4 was the maximum. Now it's like up to Torment like 12 or something. And I think we're currently like, I think we just unlocked Torment 7. And it's a little bit tough for us, but we're doing pretty okay, I guess. But it's just, I don't, like, it just sort of seems a little bit more meaningless, I guess. I don't know, it's interesting. You know, it's always so fast. It's always, oh, cool, he's prepared then, got something for it. It's, the psychology of video games is weird because if you reward things too easily, it sort of loses meaning. If you don't reward stuff enough, it becomes too frustrating. You throw out the baby with the bathwater and say, I don't care. Oh, hey, Kel. How are you? I was just testing. Well, you saw the conversation. We were just testing to see if it was going to drop. I had no plans of streaming, but I wanted to try WoW because I haven't played it in like 2 weeks. It feels like I've just been so addicted to Diablo. But so far, so good. No drop frames. That's why I don't even have the cam on. Like, this is just, I thought it was going to drop frames, honestly, within the first few minutes. So I just thought we'd go in and then change it back. But so far, so good. So this is actually really good news. But again, WoW is, I feel like, not very intense compared to like some of the other games we play. Happy to hear you're doing well, though. I'd like to apply for a visa. That's so funny. You could skip the Mechagon stuff. Thank God. Let's do it. Mechagon was a pain in the dick to unlock. That's crazy, man. Wow. So there's never been more than one AOTC per like patch or whatever. Has this the first time there's more than one? 'Cause I know there's like one or two of like 2 boss raids or 1 boss raids. I only did it once or twice, but it's a cool idea. I like the idea of shorter raids, honestly. In recent years. Oh, in recent years, so they did it before. Okay, okay. Yeah, I can't keep up with all the... I don't remember. There's been so many X-Packs, and there was 2 in 1 patch. Oh, nice. Good memory. I mean, that's pretty impressive that you're able to do it on so many characters, let alone healer. I feel like healing's probably the hardest job, honestly. Healing seems very thankless, even more so than tanking. Mop had several in one raid, or one like raid patch or tier or whatever. I thought AOTC was per raid release, and I figured there was one per like patch or whatever. So like as the N'Zoth raid came out, that had one, and the one before that had one. Or maybe not. I honestly don't remember. Several out at the same time. That's crazy. I don't. Wow. See, I'm not paying attention at all. But so I hope they stick to this. Like, how do you feel about the one boss raids? The reason why I ask is because that's how it used to be, and I loved it so much. I thought it was so sick. Like Onyxia and like Therodon's Lair, Grohl's Lair. They were like 2 boss raids. They were 1 boss raids. You were in and out so quick. Even Zul'Gurub, which was more bosses, it was still pretty quick to run the whole thing. Compared to like Molten Core or some of the other ones take a long... Naxxramas takes forever, like Black Temple, but the newer raids even, they take a long time. Usually it's like a 3+ hour investment. I like the idea of like maybe 20, 40 minutes in and out. It's okay. That's crazy, huh? It's just, I feel like it's like Siege is fun and it's exciting to take a big group into something like Siege of Orgrimmar, but it's just, it's hard to coordinate that, I feel like. You know, people work, people have lives, kids get sick, whatever it is. So like, I feel like it's just easier if it's just less bosses. You're in and out, you can still commit to it. That's impressive, huh? How are pugs that early on? I feel like it's very polar, where either you get a bunch of randoms that are just trying to get it early, and then you have a bunch of people that are super dedicated that are probably like checking logs of the people they invite because they're like tryhards, but they probably get it. Yeah, I would imagine. That's what I mean. Like I feel like they're checking logs and it's super competitive, and then the other side is probably people like, and they're not getting it. I don't think the other group is getting it. I think they're trying. They're probably yelling at each other and also being toxic, and they're just like, they probably just think we can just go in there, bang our heads against the wall, eventually we'll get it. But they probably don't. I think, I mean, the toxicity sucks, but I feel like their methods do work, but it is shitty. There's probably another way to go about it, honestly. But they probably do get the job done. But you know, it's who wants to be a part of that? At least I don't. Remember elitist jerks? Oh, so we have to ride that thing, I think. God, you know, there's so much this X pack. It's overwhelming. There's so much I still haven't done. I feel like I've done so much and still so much I haven't done or checked out or stuff I'm behind on. It's crazy. People describe retail WoW as a theme park, and that feels like a really good description of it because it's just there's a whole bunch of activities you can do, and chances are you're probably not going to do all of it every time you visit, but there's a lot of variety. It's a lot for everybody. Like it's interesting. I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad design, honestly. Like I think as long as somehow it funnels to like some of the same content in the end, I don't think it's inherently bad design. It's almost better. But I think you do sort of want to funnel it to a degree though, to like to certain, you sort of want to like herd people to like certain end game aspects of content. I think for a long-term and healthy end game. I don't know. I guess whatever that could be. Just because like rating feels like it's an end point. Even if new raids come out, it still feels like you get geared so you can do the raid, you clear the raid, and you beat it. You beat this patch or this X pack or whatever. But like, oh, VGC, what happened? Just locked up, huh? But no drop frames though. so like Delves or Mythic Plus. I guess Mythic Plus is a rating, so that feels like an end. A lot of the content, though, to me feels like it's like a treadmill. Like there's no real end. You just do it, sort of like dailies, like the prey and stuff. It's fun, but just like rating feels like it's what you build to, and I feel like WoW. That's important for a game like WoW. Because it gives you something to strive for, and it could be like a PvP rating as well, or whatever, or like a mythic rating as well. I just think like having that end goal, even if you never reach it, it's that carrot on the stick, which I think is important for like an MMO. I think you never want to question why am I doing this. You always want to be like, I'm doing this so I can get to this stage, to get to this stage, to get to this stage. I don't know. Like when I play Diablo season after season, there's a point where I gas out, and usually the point that I gas out is after I get really geared.
552 is now following.
Thank you for the follow. Round 3552, that's very kind. Usually, oh, are we too slow? Did we screw up? This is a long one we're actually doing, Jesus. I didn't reset us, we're lucky. I got distracted slowing down. Usually what happens in Diablo is I'll get to a point where I'm like, I get pretty geared, and then after I get pretty geared, things just become too easy. Now, this was before they introduced new nightmares. So now maybe there's more to do. I'm not too sure. I haven't gotten that far yet. But you would get to the last nightmare in the previous X pack, and you'd more or less be able to solo almost everything by yourself. And then at that point, it's just there's not like more content. It's just seeing bigger numbers in the screen almost, because you've already sort of capped out, and you're just like increasing your stats just so you could like look at a higher stat page almost. And at that point, I'm sort of not interested anymore. So that's sort of what I mean when I'm like, WoW sort of has to have that end constantly, that carrot on the stick. Otherwise, it feels like at some point you're just chasing stats, which is like, not to be rambly, but this is sort of like what I'm interested to find out what they're going to do with Classic Plus, because Classic is a lot of fun, but I think it's a certain personality type that can do Classic forever, because it does, you completely gear out in full Nax gear. When we did Season of Discovery, before the Scarlet Raid came out, we had Naxxramas on farm, as most people on the server did. This isn't like anything to brag about. Like it was fairly easy in Season of Discovery. My point is it got to the point where literally everybody had a full tier set. They had all their best in slot items. We were disenchanting stuff regularly because we were joking about vendoring stuff. Everybody's alts, people's friends, everybody had everything. Because I think like that's sort of how Classic is. Even Season of Discovery, which had new content, it just doesn't have the expansiveness of retail, because retail I think is constantly innovating, and they're constantly coming out with new systems or game modes or stuff like that. And Classic is a little bit more limited. So I'm interested though to see how they're going to maintain that soul of Classic while still maybe giving us new end goals that feel maybe less like repetitive as just running the same raids over and over again. It's an interesting like balance they're gonna have to figure out. And I have faith, like, but I'm just curious to see what that's gonna be, because I feel like after we see it, we'll say, yeah, of course that makes sense. It's a brilliant idea, but right now I just can't imagine what it could be. But I'm excited. I mean, this is pure copium, but how cool would it be if we could sort of bridge Classic players and retail players, where like both parties were sort of interested in Classic Plus? That'd be pretty sick. Not to say they would leave either version of the game, but just to have a very lively, Classic-esque server long term would be sick. Because every time I've joined, there's always hype at the beginning when like a server drops, and then it slowly teeters off again. I think for the same reason that I said, because it takes a certain personality type to just play forever. I think after you experience all the raids a few times, week after week, you get super geared, you just lose a little bit of motivation, I think. Unless you're that personality type that just does it for the love of the game. I just don't think there's enough people to sustain it long term. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't have the numbers, of course, right? But that's silly to have. This feels like very undead stuff. At least would look good on undead. That's strange. Okay, what can we do? I have not done like anything, like I said. Like what's the weekly even? Today's Today's Monday. We're screwed. Whatever the weekly is, we're not doing it. Well, battle pets. Well, we're not. Oh, delves. We could probably bang out 5 delves really quick. Should we quickly try to do it? I wonder. We can get a decent. Is it? Do we get a heroic piece if we do delves? Probably just champion, which isn't even really an upgrade for us anymore. Yeah, champion. So champion's not even really worth it at this point, I don't think. I think we're mostly heroic. See, this is like champion, but mostly heroic stuff, I think. Well, let's just see if we can. Oh, what if we do the delves? We will get a heroic piece next or tomorrow. We should do it anyways. Okay, there you go. We'll do it quick. We can bang it out quick. It gives us a little more time to test the stream. Just give me a 1 second. One sec, I see something. Sorry, I'm just checking something with OBS. That's why that's actually why I was testing OBS today. I just wanted to see if something is, but I don't think it is. I think we're good so far, actually. That's wonderful news. I'm going to change a quick setting. We'll see if anything changes. 1 sec. All right, see if that does anything. So far, so good. Do that. Does that work now? I know you can't see what I'm doing on this end, but I'm just, Guess it's working. Okay, give it a second, see if it kicks in. Alright, so delves. We're gonna try some delves. Real quick delves. Are there any bountiful delves? There's these 2 bountiful here. See, like this thing here, this ritual site, barely touched it. I think it's just for cosmetic stuff. There's 4 delves right here. I think we need 5 total, but we could just bang out this one too really quick and then do the other bountiful delves. Even if we do a couple, I don't know how many we have to do to get a rogue piece tomorrow. Even if we just get coins or something, I guess it's better than nothing, right? Yeah, we'll do it at 11. I'll just go bear, because bear we can just AoE. It's much easier, I think. Oh, there we go. So it is working. Sick, dude. Okay, sorry, you could hear me for a second. I was just testing something. Cool beans. Alright. Didn't work before, but looks like it's working now. So that's good. Let's see if anything changes now with that. Alright. We are cat right now. I wonder how cat is. First off, I've been hearing bear's been getting nerfed every other week, which is the funniest thing to me, but I don't know how cat is. I haven't really heard anybody complain about cat, but I haven't seen a lot of cats either. I don't normally see a lot. I feel like cat, like feral druid, is super underrepresented just generally. I don't know why. Just feels like one of those weird specs. I feel like Shadow Priest is another one I don't see a lot of for whatever reason. There's just some specs, you know, a survival hunter. They're just not as exciting for whatever reason to people. Survival hunter used to be like the most unpopular spec of all time, for whatever reason. It was a cool concept, but it just felt like a redheaded stepchild. I don't know. Okay. I normally pull more than this, but I'm just sabotage ley lines examined. So we walk forward, we examine it. Oh, there's one of these. We can pull one more here. The big guy. This guy that fears. We got to step out of the circle if he fears us. I have to say, it was fun being Flavor of the Month for a little bit as a Guardian Druid. Very rarely are, or to my knowledge at least, are the classes that I played Flavor of the Month. So it was pretty cool. You could feel the power at the beginning. It was pretty sick. And even after some of the nerfs, it still felt quite good. And I didn't do anything too high level, but just even like the delves and stuff, it was pretty cool. Although supposedly we got nerfs to single target, but I don't know. It doesn't seem that much different to me. It seems like maybe AoE got buffed again. I don't know if it's just gear or if something did. I didn't really read all the patch notes. I just keep seeing people freaking out on like Discord or Twitter. Again, we got nerfed. Again, Blizzard hates tanks. Whatever they say. All right, we'll pull this guy with us. Keep pulling. What do we have to do? Sabotage, ley lens examine. This thing right here. We've done this one before. I wonder. I feel like we must have. All right, that's this one. A void breaker. You guys probably at the end. We'll just carry these guys to him. Just aggro. You guys will just pull with us. We'll just pull all at once. Nothing here really stuns. I don't think it's too sketchy. I hate this puzzle box trinket. It's a shame that it's best in slot because it's. I hate having to stand there like an idiot and cast for like what feels like 6 years. Just because you're standing and shit all the time, man. I've died so many times just trying to get that stupid thing off, and I'm like, no, I can just stay an extra second before it hits me, and then it ends up hitting me. Most trinkets, you don't have to do like a cast, but you have to quote unquote solve the puzzle to do this trinket, and it's just sucks. I think they did it like that intentionally, so it's like high risk, high reward. I get it. I'd rather just less damage and just not have to do it though. It's I can't not take it knowing how. Oh, you got rid of yours. Yeah, it's annoying, dude. What I was just about to say is like I would feel a part of me would feel like I'm sort of crippling myself by not using it. To be fair, it's not that good anyways. Like it's only heroic. Oh, it was mythic? Oh, it is mythic. I lied. Oh no, it's champion. I'm dumb. It's champion. See there, it's only champion. But still, I think when I looked on Blood Mallet, even a champion one is better than a lot of heroic versions of other trinkets. It's that good. But it just feels like, I got it. Hunter has heroic plume and gaze something. Oh, thank God. Lucky you. I think plume I need. I think that's my second best in slot, which I think are 2 on-use trinkets, which just sucks. I mean, whatever, on-use is fine, I guess. Compared to this one, I'll take on-use. How's Webin, though? You have the same trinkets your Shaman and your Hunter? That's convenient. What is this guy? Memory. That's cool. I like how they did the Dark Souls thing, where you can see how people died. That's a pretty fun idea. I used to love, in Elden Ring, it was the same thing. You'd see blood splatters everywhere, and then you click it, and it would show how the person died. Or you could leave notes for people. Like it's a cool concept. So I'm surprised WoW just implemented it, but it's a neat idea. Adds a little bit more of the world to the World of Warcraft, which is what it felt lacking. The newest iterations of WoW, in my opinion, and it's because convenience, obviously. Like the problem with LFR is, and I think the game should have LFR. It's a net benefit to the game, but it does remove some of the social interaction of the game, which is a shame. I mean, I don't think the answer is to get rid of it, though. Overall, it's still better to have it and lose the social interaction than not have an LFR system. I just wish... I don't even want to say it's more... You incentivize socialization more. I just wish that the player base was more excited to want to socialize, sort of like how it was in Classic. It sort of still seems to be in Classic. I think it's just a demographic kind of thing. The people that just play retail are just a different player than maybe the Classic. Generally speaking, of course. What I mean is, if you were to just join a pug in Classic, but it's also because you have to probably recruit and trade, which helps. But generally, you guys would be talking about just nonsense, maybe, as you're running Dead Mines or whatever you're running, even in Nixia's Lair. But often you'll do time walkings, and you'll run it multiple times, not even just once. You'll queue for time walking. You'll get a really good group. You'll clear it. No one will say anything the first run, and then you'll run like maybe even 4 more times in a row, and maybe one person will say thank you at the end. It's not for that to happen is not a unique experience, but it is a strange experience for an MMO, in my opinion. Because you would think like the social aspect would be a draw, or I mean, it is to me. But maybe the game's just that good. That's not even about the social anymore. Maybe the game is just that much fun, which I think both are true, honestly. I think WoW like is in a really good spot. You know, people complain about WoW all the time, myself included. But I always say it with a grain of salt because truthfully, like it's even when I get frustrated with the game where I say it's like it's not for me or I'm not the audience. Objectively, it's a good game, and it's in one of the better states that it's been in a fairly long time. I would say it's been in a fairly upward trajectory, at least gameplay wise, in my opinion. At least from like Dragonflight onwards. Even if it wasn't ideal, it feels like it's going in a better direction than it was going in my opinion. Shadowlands was a big miss. And what came after that? I don't even remember. I can't even remember. Like, there's been so many X packs. And Battle for Azeroth, I remember, wasn't, like, great. But again, it was okay. But Shadowlands felt like a big... Which is a shame, because the concept of it was great. The idea of it was really good. And the idea of, like, the different factions and the characters. Like, that's what I always said about Shadowlands. The one redeeming thing about it was the story... besides the jailer bullshit, but just the vampire zone and the Nurgle looking guys, that was all great. The stories of each individual zones was great. The story, how they all connected, how you go into the afterlife, like all that was awesome. I thought it was pretty cool. It was a cool kind of twist on like afterlife storytelling. I just felt like the execution of some of like the expansion specific systems just sort of missed the boat. Like the Maw sucked, which was a big chunk of the pie for Shadowlands. And then the idea of Torghast was fun, I feel like on paper, but again when executed, it just didn't hit the same, unfortunately. I feel like it could be redone though. I feel like they could redo Torghast. But what would need to happen is it needs to be solely cosmetic, not related any way to player power, and because of that, it needs to go just ridiculous as far as player power goes, to the point where it's absolutely unfair. Some classes are way more OP than other classes, but it's not about fairness. It's about just how broken can we make these things feel, because you're not getting any better. It's just for like fun. It's just for how crazy can it get, how silly can it get, and in no way is anybody nerfed or unable to complete it. It's just some of them are so off the wall that it's like when you play another one, you're like, wow, that feels way weaker by comparison, because this one is just so insane. And that's just going to happen just because the goal should not be equal. It should just be the idea of this thing is it's sort of like is the word roguelite, I think, where you just keep stacking power on top of each other until your moves are just no longer recognizable of what they used to be. And it would be fun to just like have stuff like that, where like chain heal heals you, but also can connect to enemies and damage them. Just weird stuff like that, right? Like Moonfire can also hit your allies and heal them. You know, who the fuck knows? Like weird stuff. Moonfire can cast fear. Nonsense. Just because. That would be a cool idea. So it's sort of like Torghast. You can keep pushing, and then it gets to the point. So like the idea is sort of like Diablo, in a sense, where it's just about like you're not even really. I feel like the drive shouldn't even really be the cosmetics. It's just a bonus. The drive is just like, let's just like go crazy and have fun. How many floors can you take it? Sort of like endless. How far can you create these weird builds? And I feel like people would have fun synergizing the different build types, where maybe you do an arcane build one time as a druid, and then maybe you do like a meat shield build where you have like thorns, where every time they attack you, they take damage instead. So you're not doing much damage, but you're just waiting for them to hit you, to stuff like that. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it would offer a lot of time sink, a lot of like crafting, and you don't have to worry as much about balancing. sort of like you did with Season of Discovery, because Season of Discovery was super unbalanced. Some classes were crazy broken, some specs were insanely broken, and I think everybody was okay with it because it wasn't. Everybody knew the assignment wasn't about winning DPS races for Season of Discovery. It was just, this is a short-lived fun time. Let's just all enjoy ourselves. Sort of like Remix was. I don't know. I think anytime they do something like that, it's generally is received positively by the people that want to engage in it. So I'd be open to like seeing more like non-player power related silly stuff like that, but who knows. So what do I have to do to start these things up? Because I won't let me click them. Why? We're not in combat. What do I have to do here? To go click something on this side, maybe. Oh, it's right here. This is why. This thing. See, I wasn't even paying attention. I'm just yapping away. That's why. Well, I'm really impressed to see that we're holding on, not dropping any frames. Sorry, I was reading something. Cool. Alright, do this quick. Click this thing. We'll just stun this guy. It's gonna have too much health, damn it. Turn that on. We click the things, probably while he follows us. I could do this as cat too, but generally I would be able to AoE more as a bear. The cat does feel a little bit weaker, but it always sort of did, honestly. Like, for this kind of stuff, I mean. Damn, there's more I need to recover? Jesus. I thought it was the one. I didn't realize it was one each. Jesus Christ. Okay, I gotcha. We must have done this one before, but I don't remember doing this. I wonder what the max level is also for Valera. She's pretty high. I don't know what level she... I don't even know how to check her level, honestly. So those are the last two we need. So we'll just pull all this stuff. And I wonder if I can click it while... Oh, it's a pangolin. Can I... Ah, they interrupt me, so I can't click it. I gotta fight these guys first. Alright. So let's pull everything then, so I don't have to wait, because it's stupid. Is pangolin gonna pull too, or are we okay? Is he not gonna pull? He might not pull. We can ignore him. Okay, so we'll just quickly AoE these guys down. Watch our... Here's our puzzle box. Watch this trinket. You click it. I'm standing on stuff, by the way. Didn't go off because I stood in something. Clicking it. Look how long that took to cast. Isn't that nutty? Sucks. Again, like I said, like I understand the devs are like it's high risk, high reward. If you get it off, you get a huge DPS boost. But I feel like the average player wouldn't mind losing a little bit of DPS and just not having a trinket like that. Like even whatever the number is, like we wouldn't know the difference. If you didn't tell us that it was DPS loss because you took away the fact that we could cast it while moving, we wouldn't even know what we lost if we didn't have it before. I feel like even if you honestly, if you stealth changed it where you said you nerfed the numbers by however much %, but you said you could use it while moving, I wonder how many people, until someone posts it on Reddit or Twitter, would actually notice. People would notice because people look at every single log they ever do, I'm sure, because they're crazy. But the majority wouldn't even know the DPS was changed. They would just be happy you could cast it while moving. Until someone on Reddit or someone on Twitter makes a post about how the DPS got changed. And then everybody complains about it. That's how it always happens. People don't know what to complain about until someone tells them what to complain about. Not always, but a lot of the time. Like anytime like WoW is like freaking out, or like a lot of the internet is freaking out over something, it's not an opinion that most people came to on their own. It's usually just like a snowball kind of thing. And the reason why like I say that is you can tell because like otherwise these people that feel this way about like nerfing trinkets or DPS would talk like this regularly, all the time, not just on like a bandwagon thing like this. So that's just how you know. Like I have a friend, and he knows who he is, who is always talking like DPS and numbers and stat crunching, and so that wouldn't surprise me if he noticed it. But I feel like most people aren't like that. So that's why I feel like they only notice the shit when after it becomes a viral thing and it's already got like 3,000 likes or whatever. And like, who cares? You could say, but I guess my point is like, if you didn't notice it, then like, don't jump on that bandwagon because then you're making changes that I would argue like, or you're forcing the devs to perceive that the players are something they're really not. Because I think it's a net benefit of like if you can cast it while moving in this hypothetical situation, if you can cast a trinket while moving, and we lose a little bit of DPS, and most people didn't notice it until it was a Twitter post. I feel like that means that it was a general benefit because everybody was just enjoying it until they were told they needed to be outraged. And stuff like that with WoW has happened. That's why that's why I'm talking about this like quote unquote hypothetical situation. There's been like situations in WoW where a lot of stuff flew under the radar until someone made a big stink about it online, and then it picked up in virality, and then the whole mindset of like, or the vocal minority, I would say, of people online all of a sudden started talking about it. It happens all the time, whether it's about like writing in WoW or a character or like a bug or something. I don't know. Because when someone's abusing something in the game, you see multiple people post about it very early on. Because people truly, genuinely do care about that. When people were abusing the frogs, or when an X-Pack usually drops at the beginning, usually there's some kind of exploit or bug, or someone's abusing a rep farm or something, and usually pretty early on, it's not just one post that goes viral, but there's actually many, many posts in real time of people with very small follower counts just saying, hey, I'm playing the game, I just saw this, this is happening, Blizzard, can you fix this? And you'll see hundreds of posts from people that aren't famous, that don't have like big followers, just because that's how it happens naturally. So that's just how you can like sort of tell the difference, I guess, if that makes sense. Because people are very quick to catch a lot of bugs, like at the beginning of X packs and stuff. So it's not like people are incapable of finding things that don't work. It's just some of the things that we supposedly really freak out over, to me, feel more, I don't know, like, the word's not fabricated, but I feel like people's soul aren't really in it. The whole Arathi storyline thing, either like the characters are boring or the characters are one-dimensional. I agree, it sucks, but like a lot of WoW writing has sucked for a while. Like, why is this any different? I don't know. The story sucked, don't get me wrong. The new Arathi thing, that girl where she takes, what was it? She wasn't the leader or something. I thought she was rejected by the group or something, and then in the end she ends up becoming the leader, or the king or whoever stepped down, but it felt so weird. From what I remember, God, I remember it was terrible. I remember when what was it, Stormguard? Something Stormguard? I thought he was the leader of the zone or something, and then when he finally got his land back or something, he's like, but no, I shouldn't be king or whatever, you should have it. And it felt weird and forced and strange, and it felt like a valid complaint. People were complaining about that, but it didn't feel any different than like when Anduin turned in Shadowlands or Sylvanas turned in Shadowlands. It felt like the same thing. Like, this is just it just feels like no one's editing the script. It just feels like they did one draft and they said it's good enough, no one's going to question the story, just roll with it. So I don't know. Like, yeah, the story sucked. Yeah, some of the story elements like Dragonflight sucked, I agree, but the way people were reacting as if it wasn't like that before as well. WoW's been like lacking for a little bit, in my opinion, story-wise. So it's getting better though, honestly. I feel like this X-Pack has done an excellent job. I feel like they're really getting back to their roots. It's a little bit more serious again. The stakes seem more dire, but at the same time, it's not universe destroying. It's just Silvermoon, which feels good. I like that. I like when the stakes are small enough that it destroys the city. It doesn't split the entire existence of everything that has ever existed in half. When it's that grand scale, you can't come back from that. So like the next X-Pack just feels meaningless. You can't be fighting something that's going to split the entire existence of everything all at once, and every time, every boss is that. Every boss is going to devour the universe. It becomes meaningless. So it's better to just not do that, and then just, they're going to take over the city. They're going to, poison the well. Like, Batman villain level is like the best way to go about it, because it's just big enough that it's a serious issue, but not big enough that it loses like meaning almost, or loses motivation because it's like too grand to even comprehend. So that's why I say I feel like they did a really good job this time. I really do. Silver Moon is important enough. It's embedded enough in the history of WoW. We can get this mount. That's pretty cool. We buy it? Let's buy it, I guess. What else are we gonna buy? So Silver Moon has a long history in the WoW universe. A lot of the characters they brought up have a long history in the universe. The zones, they built on what's already working instead of trying to wedge in characters that we don't care about. And that was a brilliant choice. Whoever made that decision, I think, probably bought this game, I would argue, like another decade at least, just with this one X pack. Just narratively, I mean. Because I think it set it on the right track again, that it could ride this track for a very long time. There's a lot of unexplored storylines in this game, a lot of characters that are beloved that we haven't heard from in a long time, or that have character arcs that have never really been finished. And if like you don't need to make new characters, just go explore those characters that we already love so much. Find reasons to bring characters back, even if it's in like Obi-Wan Kenobi form, where they're just ghosts or whatever. People would still be happy to see him. So that's what I expect. I think that's going to happen. I feel like they saw how positively we responded to this X pack, and I think we're going to get a lot more of it. I don't know if we're going to do all the delves, unfortunately, tonight, but how many do we have to do at 11? I wonder to get the, I have not touched my housing forever. It's just, that's another thing, honestly, the fact that they pulled off housing and the X pack is still pretty good is very impressive, because I don't want to be cynical, but I was fearful that with the resources they put into housing, I was afraid it was going to take away from the overall quality of the game. And it did to some degree, because there is a lot of bugs. This is one of the more buggy releases they've probably ever done, and I think people say housing's not related, but I mean, if you think of it like a pizza, and you have to pay some of the housing people with some of the pizza, and you have to pay the quest dev people with the pizza, there's only so many slices of pizza. So if you're giving the housing people some of the pizza, there's less slices to give to the people that fix the bugs when you release the game. So they say it's not related, but it is, because everybody is still taking from the same pizza pie, which whether it's Blizzard, whoever like paying the bills at Blizzard and keeping the lights on is what I mean. Like it's not like separate departments that like it's all coming from one overall pizza pie, like any company. It all comes from the top down, obviously, right? Like it's not news to anyone. So I don't think, if I were to guess, I don't think that the people that were in charge of WoW this release were incompetent. I don't believe that they said, yep, there's no problems, we're going to release it. And then they released it and they said, oh my god, how did we miss these problems? I think they were probably overworked, and I think the staff was probably too small. And I think they tried their best to release it as smoothly as possible, and they just didn't have enough people. And in spite of their best efforts, it's a lot of pressure. And what happened, and I wonder if they would have had a bigger team or more people to sort of help pick up the workload, if maybe that wouldn't have happened. Not game breaking, but I do think it is related. And people like, and the only reason I bring this up is because people were fearful that the quality of the game overall would take a hit if we started investing large resources into things like housing, which isn't necessarily aligned with what people really care about in a game like WoW. But maybe that's changing. Maybe that's why they're doing it, though, because maybe the way that I'm thinking by saying that is the old WoW, is the old mentality. Maybe the new mentality of WoW player does care about housing. So maybe that's why they did it. Maybe, I'm old man yells at cloud, and there is a audience for this, and I'm the one that's out of touch, and that would not surprise me. All right, do a big pull here. We use these eyes to our advantage. Well, I thought there was something in the corner. I guess not. All right. Nope. Is there an eye here? Not an eye here? I thought there was an eye here. Oh, who feared us? Oh, they're gonna hit the eye of the eye? Yes, nice. Pull the big boy. Want to target him? Oh, there's a fear. Perfect. Let's get out. Perfect. We'll use our puzzle box. He just fears, so we're safe now. Miss. Yeah, Guardian is quite strong. Like, I feel like I probably wouldn't be able to do this. Or they're trying to attract a different audience and bring up more numbers overall. That's that was my initial thought when I first heard about housing, is that they're trying to capitalize on a market that they don't currently have to try to increase numbers, like you said. I don't think that's the best way to go about it, but each their own, I guess. Honestly, where my head is now, if I were to guess, is that I think too much damage has been done, and they can't undo what they've done at this point. So I think they're sort of trying to put a bow on WoW as a whole, and then just finish with this last 3 X packs, and that's gonna be it for WoW. And then they're probably gonna do WoW 2, which I imagine is probably gonna be almost identical to WoW, but maybe more aligned with what the original vision of Classic was, but just in a retail space where it's raid focused, Mythic Plus focused, player power focused. There's still elements of transmog and stuff, but I think there'll be more emphasis on the end game. I think, maybe this is just speculation. I'm just making it up. It just makes sense to me. And then WoW wouldn't die. WoW 1 wouldn't die. With this version of WoW wouldn't die. It would stay stagnant with the last X pack, but they would constantly have a lot of cosmetics. Every month there'd be, like maybe whether it's a battle pass or stuff you can buy for real money, and the game will be shifting more towards cosmetics, real money transactions, housing, Sims, stuff like that, and then WoW 2, which will be, I'm honestly, I feel like it'll look the same graphically. I don't think they're going to split the player base. They'll just be like, WoW 2 it's not going to be a new subscription. It's all going to get covered under the same thing. Because again, I think they're going to want the transition to be, if you just want to play the exact same thing that looks the same, but just have more focus on, this dev team is focusing more on like raid balancing, stuff like that. This dev team is less focused, like isn't focused on that kind of stuff. It's more focused on just like Overwatch 2 kind of shit, where like the balance has gone out the window, and we're just like, it's all like battle passes and stuff. That would not surprise me, because I feel like they're trying to do too much, and I feel like if you just split it, it would be better. Again, though, why would you want to do that? Because it kills your player base. But I think, and this is where I think they fucked up, I don't think it's a good choice for them to do that, but I think it's too late to do anything else. I think their player base in this version of the game is getting fragmented and is aging out of the game, because they're putting too much emphasis on stuff I think the original players that played this game don't care about. And I think over time it's going to fatigue these players. I don't know, but it feels that way. Like, so who knows? I don't think they want to do like the split thing, but I just don't see a way that they can repair this and maintain both. But maybe they can. By the way, if they were to do like a WoW 2 thing or something, again, like I think it would be such a smooth transition. It wouldn't even be like leveling something up, buying a new game. I think it would just be like a server where they're like, we're just going to split the content essentially, or something. I don't know how they would do it, but I just feel like, again, because of how insane something like that would have to be, it would have to be as seamless as possible. You keep everything, all your transmogs, all your achievements, your name. Like, it would have to be like Overwatch 2. Like, I don't, and again, it's ironically, you're so funny that you mentioned that. It's the same thing, dude. It's the same thing, where I feel like the reason why Overwatch 2 happened is because they shit the bed so hard with Overwatch 1. There's no taking it back. You couldn't walk that back anymore. So they just, or sorry, they shit the bed with Overwatch, well, sort of Overwatch 1. They sort of shit the bed when they made it Overwatch 2. But Overwatch 1 was going in a weird way, that then they forced Overwatch 2, and then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And now it's not even like a remotely the same thing as it was. So it's just funny that WoW feels like it's going the same direction. And I mean, I've mentioned this before, but that when you hear this Holly Longdale woman talk, she just doesn't seem like someone that is aligned with who I thought was the WoW player that spends the most of their time playing WoW. What she was describing, in my opinion, sounded like someone that doesn't play WoW, but they want to play WoW. But I feel like this game isn't as good with the housing as housing games. So why would you downgrade and play an MMO when you could do something that's just better at what you want anyways? Like, if that makes sense. I don't know. And maybe, again, maybe she's not in charge, but just she's the face. So when she speaks about it, and she does so with confidence. Like she's really excited about it. It to me it appears like she. I will pass. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate that. Um, it seems like she spearheaded the idea, or at least she is somewhat taking credit for it. And I've watched her in interviews at times, and I'm sure. I mean, obviously, she must have done something to garner interest and get hired at Blizzard. I just feel like that this specific one, and let's say they were like artists, right? They were produce albums. Not every album's gonna be a hit. So maybe she's done other stuff that was great. I just feel like this time it was a miss. You're not always gonna, not everything's gonna be great. You know, you try, and sometimes you miss, you go again. That's how it is. That's all. Working as intended. I have so many of these Sevens of Blood, this a rot, that of this. I never make the Dark Moon cards. There's so many of them, dude. Okay, after this delve, I think I should call it because we haven't dropped any frames. So I think we're streaming at 1080p tomorrow. This is exciting. This was just a test, see if we could do 1080p, and I think it worked. We might keep the VOD up actually, just because. I wonder, maybe we should, just because. We did something at least. I mean, we'll see. But I desperately have to make a cookie dough sitting in the fridge that I have been meaning to finish off. Because I need to freeze it. So I need to roll them into balls so I can freeze them. Because here's a tip, by the way. If you ever make cookie dough and you're not going to eat the whole cookie dough at once, don't cook the cookies and freeze the cookies. Roll the cookie dough into balls. Put the balls in like a container in the freezer for like 15 minutes, half an hour, and then put them in a baggie after they're sort of hardened. And then you have individual balls in a baggie in the freezer. They will not stick to each other, so you can pull them out individually if you want, and you can have a fresh cookie every time. Instead of having to have, you know, thawed cookies that were already baked, take out raw cookie dough out of the freezer. One cookie. Bake it. Bam, 5 minutes. Hot, fresh cookie every time. It's so much better. Awesome. It's like the same thing too, like just as much work. Honestly, it's less work because you don't have to sit there cooking a whole batch at once. And like what I was doing this time is actually I'm making edibles, and I was trying to do the math. So at 700 milligrams of THC, I would need to have 140 cookies to equate to 5 milligrams each, I believe. So I was rolling out 140 cookies, which is a lot, but they're so tiny. It's funny because I was like trying to double check the math, and I was asking ChatGPT, and it seemed correct. Like everything it said was correct based on like how I was doing it in my head as well. But it said, I said how much at 700. I said I use this recipe, which is this much. I looked at the bag. It said like this is how much a cookie dough should weigh. So I said this it should weigh this much. If I need to make 140 cookies. And this is the overall weight. What's this divided by 140? I believe that's how you would do it, right? And I think it's each cookie should weigh 20 grams. So I weighed out a 20-gram cookie to see like how big that would be, and it was ginormous. So then I started doing 10-gram cookies, and they looked more like I would expect the size of to look based on like the milligrams I was hoping. And I tried the 5 this morning, or no, not the 5. I tried the 10 milligram this morning. 10-gram cookie, which is smaller, much smaller than the math said I should have done. I should have done double what I did this morning, but this morning was good enough. So I don't know if my math was incorrect, and today's smaller cookie was actually 5 milligrams, or if it was truly 2.5. And if I can actually get by on 2.5, and don't get me wrong, I wasn't like impaired at all. It was just like functional, and I definitely could have done more, but it worked, so I'm grateful because it gets me to not smoke in the morning. But if I can get it to go to 2.5, that means I get an even bigger batch of cookies, which is pretty crazy, because then it goes quite far. That's it pays to make your own edibles, because maybe not 100% homogeneously mixed. So I thought about that. So this is how I did it. I used Rick Simpson oil, if you know what like RSO is. And I haven't tested enough cookies, though, to know for sure. But I use Rick Simpson oil. It's my first time using it as well, so I don't know how potent it is too, to be fair. I've never really had Rick Simpson oil before. I've tried oil before, but not specifically RSO. But what I did was I took the RSO, I'm not sure if you know what it is, sort of like a syrup, and I squeezed it into, it's in a syringe, and I squeezed it into melted butter. And I stirred it, and the second I stirred it, completely emulsified. Because, like, it's pure fat. Yeah, it melted immediately, and it was completely, you couldn't even see it anymore. So my logic was, that would help with the emulsification compared to doing it like with softened butter. It's not perfect, but I tried my best to think like at least if it's in the liquid form, it should like saturate everything more evenly at least. But you are absolutely correct. So if we had a KitchenAid mixer, you do have a KitchenAid, don't you? Now that I think about it, you would not have to worry, because KitchenAid is what a lot of like actual industrial places use. It's like that accurate. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. When you see industrial kitchens, like actual industrial kitchens, there are industrial mixers as well, but for smaller operations, people have a few KitchenAids because it's that accurate. It's crazy. That is just, to me, like the fact that you can own something that essentially could sustain a business for like not as expensive as you would expect. That's pretty cool. It's expensive, don't get me wrong, but like I feel like if you were to get anything else that could work in an industrial kitchen, it's probably like $30,000 plus. Like whether it's like a black top or something, I feel like a KitchenAid mixer, and then maybe a Blendtec or not Blendtec, what's it called? Vitamix. A Vitamix blender is another one. It's probably only like $600-700, which is used in like a lot of commercial kitchens compared to like most things. Commercial kitchens would probably be like $30,000 to $40,000. That's pretty cool. You can have something in your own home that essentially could give you pretty much restaurant or bakery quality, which is pretty sick. To be fair, like I don't know how interesting this conversation is, but I've gotten really into specifically baking, even more than cooking, and it's just having stuff like that is sick. Like it makes such a difference. It makes it so much more fun because you're able to do a lot more, and it turns out as you would hope when you're using like proper tools or quality tools. A lot of the time, I think what people chalk up to user error is often not user error, but just not having powerful enough tools or enough resources or quality ingredients. I find that's usually more the case than actually user error. Like the biggest one is probably quality ingredients. I've made many batches of cookies over the years, and the few times that I would splurge and spend a little bit more money, and I would get like a higher quality chocolate, you could tell the difference. If you would get something with cocoa butter in it instead of just like the typical Hershey's chocolate chips, it melts different, it stays fudgy, it just tastes better. It does make a difference. But I can't say I'm too motivated to do with most foods. I'm not a big food person, honestly. For like the edibles, I would think I would splurge just because it's something that I would make a large batch of. So I would have like 140 plus doses of it. So it wouldn't feel as bad maybe like spending, I don't know, like $10 plus on a chocolate bar or whatever it is. But I'm not big on like food, as silly as that sounds. So like I don't know if I like care enough to like I don't eat steak and stuff. I don't really like steak that much. So I know people spend a lot of money regularly on like really high quality cuts of beef or meat, and because that's like food is important to them. And I've never really been I'd rather, I don't know, I sort of get upset like spending money on food, for the most part, but that's on me. That's a very weird thing. That much I know, because my whole family's, I mean, including the fiance, is the opposite. Just food's not like a different experience to me. I'd rather spend it at the movies. But again, I think that's a very minority opinion. I think probably going out to eat is probably one of the more popular recreational things to do, especially in modern age. Probably more so than movies. I feel like no one goes to the movies anymore. To be fair, though, they did sort of price us out, like, for no reason. The movies are insanely expensive now. Just considering, like, I don't know. Floor's still sticky, the chairs aren't that great. Sounds okay. I feel like at this point, our homes are probably much better compared to most theaters. Like, even IMAX, I know people freak out about IMAX still, but I feel like a lot of people's home theaters are pretty good at this point. And I don't think... I don't know. I feel like a projector hitting... I feel like a projector with 4K still doesn't look as good as television. It's probably a shit take. I don't know if... I don't remember... I can't say I really remember watching a 4K movie and it being just absolutely stunning, but I've watched a lot of stuff on television in 4K and it seems pretty amazing. Is there even 4K projectors? I don't even know. See, man, I don't even know it's a thing. It must be. I feel like Christopher Nolan right now is just screaming bloody murder if you were to hear this. It's funny because there's two camps of... Not two, there's probably more than this, but like the two biggest camps I think of like film or media. I won't say media, I'll say like film and television buffs are, I would argue like group one is just is more focused on like, just is it entertaining or is it good story, is it fun? And then group two is like hypercritical, I think, of the technical aspect of it. Yeah, I couldn't get into it, the lighting sucked, this sucked, that sucked. And I don't know, I think all of us live in both camps at one point. But I think the majority of people, especially the less you know about film, I think the more likely you are to live in the just give me a good story camp. So even if it's not super pretty to look at, as long as it's a good enough story, you're happy. Which is Marvel, right? Like that's the majority of the of movie viewers or TV viewers, because Marvel is far from good, and that's not an opinion. If you compare the quality of the CGI in modern Marvel to even older Marvel stuff, you will see it is a declining quality, and they've admitted that, because they've admitted it's not about selling it. It's just making it. It's not like we're not even trying to put in the emphasis to sell it at this point. It's a machine of churning stuff out. And to be fair, the Marvel community has complained about this. Disney fans have complained that like the more recent CGI feels very called in compared to previous stuff. And I don't think that's an unfair claim. But with that said, they still watch it. Because even with it looking subpar, I still think they're still happy enough to just be a cool story. There's nothing wrong with that. But it would be nice if, because Disney's got the money. They could do better, man. Like, if you watch Iron Man 1, it's weird that Iron Man 1 has way better CGI than She-Hulk. It's so strange, dude. It's a lot of times people like complain about stuff like this, and often it's, you know, the internet being the internet and being a little bit overdramatic. But in this one specific instance, like, you can see pretty clearly a lot of the more recent, less popular, even the more popular Marvel films, some of them are just real, like, they would get a C in class at most. They would just get pushed along to pass. Like, that's not a passing grade as far as I'm concerned. And I think the Marvel fans deserve better. They've given you guys, they have given you guys so much generational wealth. The least you can do is spend a little bit of that on some decent CGI for them. Because when you do good CGI, it actually is a lot more entertaining. I probably would be more into the Marvel movies if the CGI was a little bit better. Because I used to like them, but it just got very green screen heavy, it feels like. Which just takes me out of it a little bit. I like practical effects. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're so funny. Ooh, nice. I think we want mastery though, right? I don't know, crit haste maybe for a cat. Probably wanted mastery for bleeds though, but I feel like we probably want crit haste for the cat now that I think about it. We used to want mastery, but I feel like it's not bleed based anymore. I forgot all about these. I haven't collected these in like 2 weeks. I probably have capped on the tier thing as well. Shit, I should get tier for my warlock or something, so at least I can get a full set transmog, because like it's just sitting there, probably capped anyways, because you get like a new tier token once a week or something. God, it's been weeks. Okay, give me 1 sec, friends. I think we might call it here. Just gonna confirm. I gotta make sure something. 1 sec. Well, Kelf, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you as always. I think we will call it here. We stream tomorrow. I just wanted to see if we would drop any frames. It's been like pretty much an hour at this point, an hour and 6 minutes, and we haven't dropped a single frame. So I guess we can keep this VOD up for now. If people enjoy it, I guess we'll just keep it up. If you're watching this later, I appreciate you watching. If you're willing to like it, it seems to help people find us. But this was just a test, so that's why you missed a quote-unquote stream. Hopefully it didn't fuck up anybody's streaks either. I don't think it does. I think they have a little more leeway than that. But, yeah, I hate that streak system. It's dumb. Because it sort of fucks people up if, like, you want to just do an impromptu stream off schedule, and someone loses their, like, 300th streak. That sucks. So hopefully there's more leeway than just missing one stream. But anyways, have a wonderful night. I appreciate you guys hanging out while we tested this. I think this is exciting. I'm, like, super stoked to stream tomorrow now, because I think Ghosts of Tsushima will be in 1080p. To be fair, we don't know if that game is more intense than this, but I think we'll be okay. I really do. So I look forward to tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Oh, you can rewatch the VOD for 5 minutes and get credit. I'm so happy. Dude, you made my night. Because I always want to do impromptu streams, but I know there's like 1 or 2 people that have a streak. And I always feel bad. Because one time I fucked up a streak for someone. I felt bad. So that makes me feel better. I'll let them know that. Thank you for that. That's the best news I heard all night. I appreciate. So we'll end on that. That's on a good note. So if you do have a streak on Twitch and someone goes live and you quote unquote break your streak, if you rewatch the VOD for 5 minutes, I think you get credit, and it goes back to like maintaining your streak. So it doesn't. If you miss something, you don't necessarily lose it as long as you rewatch the VOD quick enough, I guess. So that's cool. Have a wonderful night. I'm sure we will chat. I'm glad you're home. Enjoy WoW. I'm sure we'll see you online. Thank you guys for hanging out for this super secret stream. I will see you tomorrow for more Ghosts of Tsushima. Have a nice night.